Hey everyone, I'm Erin LaFaive, herbalist and plant priestess with Full Circle Herbals and the author of the Learning Herbalism Workbook. And today I'm going to be talking about 3 tips to increase the power of your herbal teas. So many people drink herbal teas, but I'm going to give you some tips on how to increase the effectiveness and use of those herbal teas. So that's what we're going to be doing here in just a couple seconds. Just waiting for people to jump on. Hello, everybody. I can see some comments right now. I'm in StreamYard, so if you want me to see comments and see your name, then you have to click on the StreamYard link. And I will also look at the Facebook comments after I'm live, after I finish this live. So if you're just joining us, I'm Erin LaFaive, herbalist and plant priestess with Full Circle Herbals. And today I'm talking about 3 tips for increasing the power of herbs. So welcome to my Tuesday live mini lesson that I give. I'm usually in the Plant Priestess Exploration Facebook group only on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. But today I'm doing something special and streaming in a few different places right now. So let's get started with the 3 tips. My first tip is that you can increase the power of your herbs, of your herbal tea, if you get them in your body. Now, some people think and wish and hope that they can get those herbal teas in their bodies, and then they just don't do it. So definitely have to get drinking those herbal teas. And one of the ways that you can make sure that you're getting those herbal teas into your system every day is to make more than 1 cup at a time. So you can make 3 cups at a time if you want, and then you can have that ready for you. Keep it in a thermos or some other way to keep it warm throughout the day so you can have it warm if that's your preference. I do let some of my teas get to room temperature because I'm fine with drinking them that way, and sometimes they kind of change flavor just a little bit when they're cold. I can actually do some other things to the herbal tea, whether it be cold or warm, to increase the tastiness of it. So this first tip is really all about how to get those herbal teas in your body, because that's going to increase the power of those herbal teas rather than sitting on a shelf somewhere in your kitchen. So some of the ways you can make your tea a little bit more tasty, especially for people who are just starting out drinking herbal teas, they might not be so used to it. They may be used to having more sweet drinks to have. And some of the things that you can do is add in honey. You can also add in maple syrup, or even some other like elderberry syrups, other herbal syrups that have been made. And anything that's, people make strawberry syrups and all different kinds of things. So if you add in just a few drops of it, maybe like a teaspoon or so, just to add in a little bit of sweetness to the drink so that you can actually get it in your system, because it does no good if you make it and you just don't like it and you're just choking it down. That is not going to increase the power of your herbal tea. We certainly want to be enjoying the process. We want to enjoy all of that so that we don't, just let them sit there. So what other things can we do to increase our likelihood to put them in our bodies? Tastiness, like I said, with the sweeteners. Some people will add like a little bit of salt to some of theirs as well to kind of bring out the flavor. We certainly don't want a lot of salt in our diet, but we certainly need some. And if you're just starting out with herbal teas, adding in those sweeteners and those tasty things can help us get used to the flavors of different kind of herbal teas. Some are a little bit more bitter than others. So we do want to help ourselves get used to the habit of getting into this herbal tea drinking. And also you could add in some stevia. Now, stevia leaf, the fresh leaf and even the dried leaf, I think tastes much better than the stevia drops. Those, to me, have a little bit more of an aftertaste. So you might want to try and play around with different kinds of stevia formulations. I will also add in different kinds of fruit juice. Sometimes I add in some apple juice or some grape juice, whatever I have around. I'm not trying to increase too much sugar into my herbal drinks, but sometimes those herbal teas do need a little bit of a boost, especially if we're drinking things like The roots, dandelion root and burdock root, they're bitter. And sometimes they're just not what you really want to be ingesting, but, they are part of tea mixes. And so we want to be keeping that in mind when we're drinking certain things. So that is my first tip of how to, get it in our bodies, make extra for the day, and also do some things to increase the tastiness of it. And I'll give you a few more tips of how to, try out these herbal teas to make it enjoyable for yourself too. So one of the other things that people need to keep in mind to increase the power of their herbal teas is that the steeping time can vary. It can pull out more flavors, or it can make flavors change in a way that we don't like. So I have an herbal tea bag right here that I'm going to open. And on this bag, it actually says how long they recommend to steep it. So the steep time on this one is 10 to 15 minutes. I'm just going to pull this out here and show you that here is this. So some people are so new to herbal teas that they don't even know what to do with the steeping time. So what you would do is have your boiling water. You would put the boiling water into a cup and then stick the tea bag into the cup and let it sit in there for the 10 to 15 minutes and then take it out. Because we certainly don't want to have it in there the whole time unless you prefer that flavor. So steeping times will draw out more and more of the herbal constituents in it. And sometimes it'll make things more bitter. If you like bitter and you like that type of thing, then yes, you can keep your herbal teas steeping longer. But usually, most people are not looking for so much of the bitterness. So chamomile can actually become bitter if it's steeped too long in the cup. So, there's just some things you want to keep in mind, and you might want to try different steeping times. Maybe even make 3 cups at once. Try steeping time of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then 15 to 20 minutes, and see if there's a difference in the flavor of it. And that way you're going to increase the power of your herbal teas, because you're going to make one that you actually want to drink and you want to take and use it. You want to make something that you actually want to grab for and take over and over. So that's another tip, is the steeping time. If you're using loose herbal tea that's not in a package of any kind, you may need to strain out the herbal material more than once. Sometimes those pieces get a little bit small and the strainer doesn't always grab them all. You may need to get a strainer that's even has a finer mesh, or use a coffee filter. And if those little bits of herbs are still in your water after the first straining, that will also kind of change the flavor as your herbal tea sits there, next to you. If you leave it sit there and don't drink it within the first 15 minutes, and you're enjoying it for 30 minutes or an hour, the flavor can change a little bit as those little bits are still in the water and infusing out into it. So that's something to keep in mind, is you may need to strain it a couple of times if you're using loose leaf herbal tea. So the third tip I want to give you today is that to increase the power of your herbal teas, it's about how much you drink it. Okay, so if you're looking for a medicinal-like property from your herbal teas, you need to be drinking around 3 cups of it a day. If you're just using herbal teas for enjoyment, for helping to get your water into your system, the fluid intake that you want to get in for the day, 1 cup of herbal tea, that's considered a beverage tea. If you want to get more of the effects of those herbs, then you have to get it into the medicinal level with drinking about 3 cups a day. It kind of depends, on how sensitive your body is, how bigger people might need more, shorter, smaller people may need less, and people's bodies have different sensitivities, but we're looking for around 3 cups of it a day, and usually like 1 in the morning, 1 somewhere around the afternoon, and then 1 in the evening. You don't have to drink all those 3 cups all at once. You can space it out. So when people are very sick, I mean, they're in the middle of a sickness and they have lots of symptoms, then we actually recommend to space out the herbal tea consumption to like a fourth a cup every half an hour to hour. It's smaller doses, but more frequently. So those are ways to increase the power of your herbal teas, whether you're doing beverage teas, whether you're trying to get a slower effect, the medicinal effect of the herbs into your body over time, or if you're really sick and having lots of symptoms, then you change your dosage that way as well. So another tip I want to give you, a bonus tip for how to increase the power of your herbal teas, is try growing some of your own herbs, because fresh herbs and herbs that you've harvested and then dried for later use, the flavor is just unmatched compared to what we purchase. Because what we purchase in the stores already prepackaged, they it's taken a while for that to get to the shelf. There's been somebody's harvested it and then they've dried it, then most likely they've shipped their dried herbal material to another place, could be across the country, across the world, and then another facility will put the herbs in little tea bags and then get that packaged and send it back to the grower so that they can sell it. Now, certainly there are situations where the tea is the herbal tea mixture is moving quite quickly from grower to packaging and out to the customer. But the ones that we purchase at stores and online, there's usually been more of a lag time in between. So if you can buy local, it's really is a good thing, because the flavor is typically higher and it's just such a more enjoyable experience. So I'll give you a couple tips that for herbs that I like to grow that are fairly easy to grow and are just, the flavor is unmatched to something I purchase. Lemon balm is by far so much better fresh and dried, fresh at your own home so that you can use it over and over. Lemon balm typically starts to fade in its flavor after about a year of being dried. Many other herbs will hold their flavor and their color and their plant constituents for many years afterwards, as long as they're stored properly. But lemon balm is just one of those ones that does not hold its flavor very long. Calendula petals, the flowers, they typically will fade within about a year as well. Certainly can hold longer if they're in the proper storage situation, but calendula flowers are definitely just so much more vibrant and hold their plant constituents longer when you have them fresh. And chamomile is so much fun to have because its blossoms are small, they're easy to dry, and you can add it to some herbal tea of your own that you make. Lemon balm, calendula flowers, and chamomile flowers all together make a really delicious and relaxing herbal tea. So having something that you can grow yourself is very helpful. And if you've never done that before, start out with one plant and one herbal kind of plant that for one growing season and see how you do with it. And if it went well, then add another different kind of plant, but just start out slowly at first so you don't overwhelm yourself. The next best thing is to buy herbal tea mixtures that are as locally sourced as possible. They've been harvested, and then packaged as close to you as possible, because the quality just is so much better. And then if you have to purchase them, you have to purchase them too. And there's many tasty teas out there as well that are beneficial to people who may not be interested or want to or have the time to do any growing, or maybe they don't have a local tea farm in their area. So let me see some of the comments here. Let's see what this one is. I heard in some teas, boiling water damages the medicinal qualities. Which teas would they be? That's a really good question and a really good point. The vitamin C, if something's really high in vitamin C, such as rose hips and white pine needles can be made into an herbal tea. Vitamin C typically will start to degrade after it's been boiled for too long and too high. So those types of herbs, we usually keep them less than 10 minutes for a steep time with those. And, we're not boiling them at a rapid boil. So that's some of the some of the ones with vitamin C would be those that would get degraded with too much heat over time. Let's see some other questions here. Do we want German or Roman chamomile? Very good question. Somebody who knows their chamomile. Typically, German chamomile is the one that's used for herbal teas, and Roman chamomile is typically turned into like essential oils and things. So Roman chamomile typically does not have a profuse blooms. They don't have a lot of flowers, and you need more of the plant to be growing in the area. Whereas German chamomile will have many blossoms happening, and the more you pick them, the more they will keep blossoming. So German chamomile typically is just more, it has more blossoms to harvest than Roman chamomile typically. So that is a good question. Somebody's saying they keep their chamomile in my tea the whole time. Yes, you certainly can do that. It's a preference. So I just wanted to let people know they should try different steeping times to see if different flavors come out in their teas. Okay, let me just check a few more. Somebody says orange juice gives tea a good taste. Yes, I have definitely tried that, done that, and have added it to teas for my kids before to make it, more tasty. There's all sorts of fun things that can be done with teas. You can make ice cubes out of tea, and then you have this, flavorful ice cube that you can put into just plain old water, and it gives you some extra flavor to it. There's so many flavored water products out there right now that people have, and those flavored waters aren't like super strong or super sweet. So people are used to having kind of like this watered down flavor, something that is very much closer to water and not so sugary. So if you try adding in ice cubes that have been made from herbal tea into water, then you have this kind of gently flavored water. You can also make popsicles out of the herbal teas. Those are especially helpful when people are ill and they're trying to keep their fluid intake up, but they're not, really interested in sipping on a lot of stuff. Sometimes in popsicle form, it's just refreshing. It slowly melts and you get that, slow intake of the fluids. And, it's a little tasty, but not too powerful. So there's always so many fun things you can do. Okay, that's all I see for comments right now. So those are my at least 3 tips for increasing the power of your herbal tea. I gave you some bonus tips in there as well. I am hosting a free workshop starting Monday, October 19th. It is in the Plant Priestess Exploration Facebook group. It's for those interested in herbal remedies, learning herbs, and with intersecting with nature's spirituality and priestessing. So it's a fun group to be in if you like all of those things. It starts on the 19th of October and goes all the way until October 22nd. And then I do 5 bonus days as well. So if you want the information for that, I will post the link for the registration page in the comments as soon as I'm done with this live. And it's a really fun time. We meet at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time for the live lesson. It's about 30 minutes to 60 minutes. And then the replay is available for a shorter amount of time for about a week so that people who can't come to the live video lesson can watch the replays. I do lots of giveaways and fun activities, and I provide you with a free workbook too to keep track of all the things I'm saying. And we do, I give you little activities to do, really easy, quick activities to do at home. And then people share with each other in the Facebook group how that went. And so that Facebook group is almost 2,300 people strong right now. So if you're interested, it is the Plant Priestess Exploration Workshop. It's free, it's fun, it's packed with information. People say they learn so much in there, and they meet people. People have become friends in there for all sorts of people that they've met in that group. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining this free live lesson. I will be popping in some other time. Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time is when I do my free lessons. And I always do them in the Plant Priestess Exploration Facebook group. And then sporadically, I come into the other groups as well and on my Facebook page. So thank you so much for joining. Have a great day.